We were lost in the woods, and it was pouring with rain, and everything was bleak. I was 9 years old, and I was on a Girl Guide camp, and we set off that morning for a hike, and we had our compasses and our maps and optimism and bright blue skies. But things can change in an instant, and this was England, so the weather changed in an instant, and the rains came down. We were in the forest, we were lost. Our Girl Guide leaders were off to one side arguing about the right way to go. I was feeling miserable, and I saw a little girl sat on a tree trunk sobbing. She was a couple of years younger than me, so probably about 6, and she was tiny, soaking wet. I asked her what was wrong, and she said that she was homesick, and she was frightened, and she was cold. And I knew exactly how she felt, because I felt exactly the same way. I did what I knew my mum would have done. And despite feeling awful myself, I reached out and reached in with kindness, and I said to her, "What can I do to help you? Do you want a piggyback ride?" And she said, "Yes, please." So I scooped her up and I put her on my back, and I told her stories, and I sang her songs all the way back to the camp. And it was a long way, and the rain continued to pour down, but our spirits rose. Now, a couple of weeks later, my Girl Guide leaders presented me with a trophy, a little gold cup, and on it was my name, and underneath was written, "For kindness." And I was absolutely thrilled, so proud and so excited to run home and show my mum this trophy. What I'd done was only a small thing, but it had a big impact on me. I learnt 3 important lessons from that experience. Firstly, I learned that no matter what is going on for you, no matter how miserable you feel, if you reach out with kindness and help someone else, you will feel better. It will distract you from your own problems and reconnect you with the world. I also learned that in making someone else happy, I made myself happy. I got that buzz you get from being kind, that helper's high, and it felt amazing. With kindness, we all rise. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, I learned that when my Girl Guide leaders noticed and valued my kindness, it motivated me, it encouraged me to be kinder more often. And if we want to raise kind children, we need to notice and value them being kind. When a child does you a drawing, if you say, "Wow, that's fantastic," and you put it up on the wall and you show other people that drawing, the child will think, "Amazing, I'm going to do some more of them," and you'll soon have a whole stash of kids' drawings. And exactly the same thing happens if they are kind. If you notice, value and appreciate it, talk to other people about their kindness too, your child will be motivated to be kinder more often. Now, my journey into kindness started when I was very young, because my mum, Susan Eileen Goddard, and I'm so proud to share her name with you today, she was a huge kindness role model to me. And when she passed away, everyone who talked to me about her talked about her in relation to her kindness. They didn't talk about her job or how obsessed she was with Elvis Presley or the millions of romance novels she met. They all talked about her in relation to her kindness. They told me how she was helpful, how she had supported them, how she encouraged and motivated them, how she was kind to them. She left a beautiful legacy, and she touched many, many people's lives. I saw her kindness in action every day. She volunteered at 3 schools. She was a carer for her mother for years and years. She was also a school governor. She donated to charity on a regular basis, even though she had very little money. She was a shoulder to cry on for her friends, and even for strangers, she would give compliments and be kind and supportive. She was really, truly lovely. And it was an excellent, excellent role model for me to have, to see kindness in action all the time. And she was a very kind mom. She would encourage us, believe in our dreams. And when we messed up and got into trouble, which of course we did along the way, we knew we could always turn to her, because her kindness was bigger than her judgment. And that makes you feel incredibly safe when you know someone's kindness will be bigger than their judgment. You can go to them with anything. And we could. And that was an amazing gift. And that's an amazing gift to give to your child, to know that they can come to you with anything because your kindness will outweigh your judgment. So yes, what a great role model. If you want your children to be kind, you need to role model kindness to them. My mum also taught me that kindness was a real strength. It wasn't a weak thing, wishy-washy, just nice, but a really strong thing. Kindness was behind organ donations, donating blood. Kindness checked in on elderly neighbours and stopped that child eating lunch on their own. And kindness is what feeds the birds and plants those wildflower seeds. It helps other people, it helps the planet, and it was very, very important. We need to teach children that kindness is a strength. Imagine if every child knew it was their role and responsibility that wherever they saw oppression, exclusion, marginalisation, suffering, that it was their role and responsibility to reach in with kindness and do what they can to help alleviate that, even if it means going and getting help. And then those children growing up to be the adults who are your politicians and your social workers, your teachers, the bank manager, your waitress, the bus driver. If everyone knew it was their role and responsibility to be kind when it was necessary, what a wonderful world this would be. So how do we teach kids directly to be kind? Well, we need to show and not tell. Because I don't know about you, but when I tell my children to do things, like put their laundry in the laundry bin or put their pots in the dishwasher, I don't always get met with a great deal of success, but they see me day in and day out in what I do. So you have to show your kids how you're kind to other people. Show them, put food to one side for the food bank, or call your friend when you know that they're struggling, or check in on your neighbour. And then let them see you be kind to the world. Let them see you walk instead of drive, or recycle really well, or go on a march for climate change. And when they've seen you be kind to people and to the world, most importantly, let them see you be kind to yourself. We often forget self-kindness, and we often forget to teach children about self-kindness. And they need to know that self-kindness is not selfish, it's self-caring, and it's the route to health and well-being. And it will sustain them and help them be resilient when life's challenges come their way. So we need to show them self-kindness in action. If you've had a really busy day, you might tell them that you're going to go and have a long soak in the bath so you can relax. If you're upset about something, tell them you're going to call your best friend and chat it over because it'll make you feel better. And they will know that when things go wrong, you don't have to wallow in it, but that you can make yourself feel good. And then show them how to be kind to other people. Show them how you check in on your friends and how you look out for them. It does really, really matter, because when you feel good yourself, you're going to be able to help other people better and make that correlation so they know you have to fulfill yourself first. You have to feel good first. And teaching kids to be kind isn't hard. It isn't hard, but it needs to be overt and intentional and sustained. We're very good at telling little kids to say please and thank you, to share, to take turns. But along the way, we tend to put the focus on their academic achievements or on them doing really well in their hobbies. Yeah? We need to keep the focus on them being kind, because when they're kind, they not only make the world better, but they will feel better about themselves too. And that's really important. So the benefits of kindness are huge. When you are kind to someone else, as I've said, you feel really good. And this happens no matter what state you're in. When I work in therapeutic way with young people, it doesn't matter what they've come to me with. It could be OCD, or it could be depression. They could be oppressed. Lots could be going on for them. Anxiety, low self-esteem. Whatever is happening for them, I give them the same piece of homework. I tell them to go home, and during that week, before I see them again, to do something kind for themselves and something kind for someone else. And it can just be tiny. It could just be absolutely tiny. But I want them to do it. The following week, I asked them how that felt, and they always say it felt good. Always, no matter what situation they're in, being kind to themselves or other people felt good. And then I asked them if it helped them feel more connected. And they'll say yes. Always they'll say yes. They felt more connected to the member of family that they were kind to, or to the friend they were kind to, or the stranger. And when they're kind to themselves, they feel more connected to themselves, more nurturing of themselves. We all rise with kindness, all of us. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So teaching your child to be kind is not only a gift to the world, but is a gift to your child. It increases their well-being and their connectivity. And I think it's one of the very best things you could ever do for their emotional and mental health. Because kindness is in their power. It doesn't depend on the world treating them a certain way. It depends on your child treating themselves a certain way and then putting their kindness out into the world. If your child is doing some drawing, suggest they put one to one side, put it in an envelope and send it to grandpa. If they're baking some cakes, put a couple to one side, take them into reception at school. It's easy to teach them to be kind to other people. And then, as a family, go litter picking or go and feed the ducks. Kindness to the world is also easy. But then sometimes being kind isn't easy. We can't fudge the tough stuff. We have to address it. Kindness is sometimes really, really hard, especially for children. Talk to your children about racism. Explore with them what they'll do if they see or experience it. Talk to your children about disability and why inclusion matters so, so much. Talk to your children about stereotypes and how they are oppressive. And talk to your children about bullying and the huge, horrible impact it has. Start with empathy. Kindness starts with empathy. Help your children imagine what it's like to be the person receiving those experiences. And then explore with them ways they can reach in with kindness. Kindness is always the answer. And it might look like many different things. It might be that they raise awareness, or it might be that they raise some money, or offer a smile, a friendly word, or it might be they go and ask for help. If they're at school and their friend is bullying someone and they absolutely don't feel they can handle that, they can go and speak to a teacher. There is always something they can do, and kindness is always the answer. And this will make your child feel empowered. So let them know they can come to you and say, I want to be kind, but it's hard. Will you help me? And develop strategies with them. We all rise with kindness, and it matters hugely, but sometimes it's not sweet or easy, but it is always important. I'm going to end this talk with telling you a story about one of my kindness heroes. Both my children are very kind. They're kind in their thoughts and they are kind in their actions, and their grandma's legacy lives on through them. She would be so proud. I share stories about my kids being kind a lot, and I tell them stories about people who are kind a lot. People from history, contemporaries, just people I know or have heard about. Stories spread messages, and stories are inspiring, and we nearly always have a hero in a story, and kids love heroes. So make sure that some of the heroes in your kids' life are kindness heroes. This is a story about my daughter, Annalise. When she was 6 years old, we'd gone to London for the day, and it was a grey and miserable day, and we had been walking around for hours and we were tired. We ended up going to a juice bar, and we thought we'd just have a drink before we got the train home. And behind the juice bar was this lady who looked really, really fed up and miserable and grumpy. And she almost snarled at us when she asked us what we would like to drink. And I took a step back, but my daughter took a step forward, and she looked at this lady and she went, "Wow, I love your blue hair." And the lady smiled and touched her hair, beamed back at my daughter and said, "Well, I like your hair too, thank you." All of a sudden I was smiling, because when anyone compliments my kids, it makes me smile. And the three of us were happy and connected. With just that one tiny compliment, Annalise had changed everything about that situation. And the story doesn't stop there, because behind us in the queue was a man who was suited and booted, and pale and drawn, and he'd obviously had a long and busy day in the city. He did not look happy. But when our lady with the blue hair served him, she smiled at him and she was pleasant to him and said, "What would you like to drink, sir?" So pretty soon he was smiling too. And I like to think that he then went and got on the bus and smiled at the bus driver, who then smiled at the next passenger, who then went and sat down and smiled at the person next to them, who went home and smiled at their partner. Because kindness ripples. With kindness, we all rise, and it is super powerful. So that tiny compliment was a seed that spread, and it was beautiful to witness my mum's legacy living on. There is no better legacy that you could leave than kindness. So how do we raise kind kids? We notice and value their kindness. We tell them kindness is a strength. We role model kindness. We teach them directly how to be kind, and we teach them how to be kind even when it's hard. And we teach them about self-kindness and talking to themselves kindly, because that really matters too. And then when we've done all of that, we share with them stories and inspirations about kindness heroes. We all rise with kindness, and it's the most important gift you could ever give your child, for the world and for themselves. Thank you very much.